Hello, geometry. Today we are going to learn about the triangle angle sum theorem, or simply called the triangle sum theorem. So you've probably heard of this in other math classes, but basically what it says is if we have the three angles of a triangle, 1, 2, and 3, the measures added together, or the sum of the measures of those three angles will add up to 180 degrees. So we're going to use that equation just as we have in the past for any other geometry applications. So for example, number 1, we have our three angles labeled. We have 82 degrees, 45, and x. So to find x, we are going to set up an equation. We have x plus 82 plus 45 is equal to 180 degrees. From there, you are simply going to subtract off these other two angles. So I do 180 minus the 45 minus the 82 and throw that in the calculator. And you do end up with x is 53 degrees. You can check it, but plugging in your calculator, 53 plus 82 plus 45 should get you 180. So please take a moment, try number 2 on your own. So pause the video and try number 2. Okay, welcome back. So we'll just go through and make sure you did this correctly. We'll just put an x in the corner, like on the previous example. And we have x plus 67 plus 28 is equal to 180. Again, in your calculator, you do 180 minus the 28 minus the 67, and you do end up with x equals 85. You can double check. 85 plus 67 plus 28 is 180 again. Number 3 is slightly more difficult, same concept. So we have labels in the corners in the angles of the triangle. So we're going to add those three angles together and set them equal to 180 degrees. In this particular case, the algebra is slightly more difficult, but you are going to combine like terms. So x plus x is 2x plus 58 equals 180. We are going to subtract 58 from both sides, and we get 2x is equal to, you can use your calculator, but that is 122. And then you're going to divide by 2. So x is 61 degrees. Again, you can check by putting in the 61 and the 61, but 61 plus 61 plus 58 should get you 180. Okay, these examples will progressively get harder. So number 4, wherever you have a triangle, you can use that triangle sum theorem. And you want to look for triangles that have two angles already labeled, because then you can easily solve for that third. So I'm going to start on this left side triangle and not on the right side triangle, because this triangle I only have 88. I don't have a second angle to help me. So I'm going to start over here. I know that 42 plus 85 plus W adds up to 180 degrees. So again, you were going to subtract off 180 minus the, let me put that in my calculator, 180 minus 85 minus 42. And you end up with 53 degrees. So W is equal to 53. And I'm going to label that in my picture. Okay, as you find out information, please label it in your picture. Now, you can also use old information, old postulates and theorems to help you with these pictures. So here, what I'm noticing is I have a linear pair with W and X, and I have vertical angles across here. So I'm just going to label the vertical angle. I know that has to be 53. And of course, the linear pair is going to be 180 minus the 53. So 180 minus 53 is 127. So I know X is 127. And then from there, I can use this right side triangle to figure out the y. So I'm going to set up another equation, 88 plus 53 plus y equals 180. Okay, and again, you're going to use your calculator. You have 180 minus 53 minus 88, and that gets you a 39. So here y is equal to 39. And then you can always just double check in your calculator that these three add up to 180, these three add up to 180, and that these two add up to 180. Okay, number 5. So thinking about old information to start, what you can do is start with these linear pairs and then end with the triangle. So given those hints, try those on your own, pause the video, and solve for x, y, z. Okay, welcome back. So let's go through this. X. So x is a linear pair with 61. So I'm going to do 180 minus 61. That is going to get me 119 degrees. You can use your calculator. Likewise, y and 153 are a linear pair. So 180 minus the 153 is going to get me 27 degrees. So now to figure out z, I'm going to use this triangle. So 27 plus the 119 plus z is equal to 180. And again, using your calculator, 180 minus 27 minus 119 equals 34. So z is equal to 34. You can always double check, plug these values in to make sure they add up to 180 degrees. Okay, let's look at number 6. So now we're kind of combining some of that information from this chapter with parallel lines and with triangle. So notice that these two lines are parallel and that I don't have any values in my triangle at the moment. So I want to think, well, what do I know and what can I find? You can definitely find C first. So C is a linear pair with 123. So if I do 180 minus the 123, that should be, use your calculator, that should be 57. So let's start there. So I know angle C is 57. Okay, what else do I know? Well, I have these parallels. So we talked about how you can highlight. If you highlight 3 lines, so maybe I'll highlight this one. But that 55, do you notice that the 55 will make a Z with A? So those are alternate interior angles. And given parallel lines, alternate interior angles are congruent. So I know that A is 55 degrees. From there, now I can set up my triangle sum. So 57 plus the 55 plus D is equal to 180 degrees. Also realize at any time that if I'm going too fast, you can always pause the video and then catch up. But you are going to take 180 and subtract off 55, 57, and you end up with 68. So I know D is equal to 68. Would be here. Okay, the only thing left is to figure out B. There's a few different ways we could figure out B. Okay, one of them is you have a Z right here as well. So we know B is also going to be 57. You could also add up these 3 angles, B, D, and 55, and those should equal 180. You could also use the fact there's a same side interior angle pair. 123 and B should also add up to 180. Okay, but generally the easiest way is using alternate interior angles. So we know that B should also be 57 degrees. Okay, number 7. So same concept, we just have a little bit harder algebra. So I have these 3 angles, I know they add up to 180. So I'm going to start with a big algebra equation. So I have 6x minus 6 plus 7x plus 1 plus 55 should equal 180. Okay, given this algebra equation, try it on your own. So please pause and try that solving x. Okay, welcome back. So let's go through how to solve this again. So we have combined like terms. We're going to say 13x. And then we have our numbers. So -6, 1, and 55. So that is going to be 50 when you add all of that together. And that's equal to 180. Okay, so subtract the 50. Just doing our normal algebra. Equals, that's going to be 130. Divide by 13. And x equals 10. All right, so to know whether our answer is reasonable or not, we are, as always, going to plug into the picture. So I plugged the 10 in here. You can use your calculator, but this shouldn't be too bad. 6 times 10 is 60, minus the 6 is, so that should be 54 degrees. Okay, here we got 7 times 10 is 70, plus 1 is 71 degrees. Then you're going to double check that these three angle measures add up to 180. So in your calculator, you're going to add up 55 plus 71 plus 54, and you will find that those do end up adding up to 180 degrees. So therefore, my x equals 10 is a reasonable answer. Okay, last page here. These are the most difficult. I'm going to start with number 8. So what you'll notice here is we have this triangle in the middle, but all we know is we could figure out m with this linear pair. But we don't know z and we don't know x. So that's going to be hard to find. But we also have what we call these overlapping triangles. We have, I'm going to highlight it for you, this really large triangle here that when I highlight it, you can see, but generally it's hard to see without me highlighting it. So that green triangle right there has 73, 83, and x. These three values are the angles for the green triangle. So I can use them to figure out x. Okay, even though it's overlapping with other information, that is still a triangle. So I'm going to take my 180, subtract 83, subtract 73, and I end up with x is 4. Okay, so I know this is 24 now. That'll help me figure out z, because I know m, this is a linear pair. So that linear pair, I have 180 minus the 68, so this should be 112. And now I can figure out z over here. So z, let me just do it in a different color, but z I'm going to find with z plus 112 plus 24 equals 180. And again, you're going to take 180 minus the 112 minus the 24, and you get 44. Okay, so I have that is 44. Okay, now how do I figure out y? Well, you'll see I'll use a different color highlighter. Maybe I'll use pink. No, maybe yellow. How about yellow? There is another big overlapping triangle over here. It's right here. So for that big overlapping triangle, I have 64, I have y, and I have 44, which I just found. So I can use the big yellow triangle to figure out y. This is a really difficult question. Okay, so if you're just following along, that's wonderful. As long as you can follow along. I have 44. That's the first yellow angle. I have 64, the other second yellow angle.